back to Hero Training. Put on your capes and masks and let's go! Last week we talked about being attentive, paying attention, and I'm sure some of you worked really hard on that this week. This week our focus is going to be on diligent, working hard until the job is finished. This last week in church we learned about Joshua in the afternoon service. And we learned about how Joshua was diligent, relying on God each step of the way. Think about a time when you were diligent. Did you finish the job? Maybe Mom asked you to set the table, and you've set the whole table. You put all the dishes on the table for Mom. You were being diligent. Can you think of a time that you weren't being diligent? Maybe you had to set the table and you forgot to put the napkins and the silverware on. So next time you set the table, make sure you're diligent and you finish the whole job. This week, we're going to read a story about Paul. He was diligent to do God's work. But I'm not going to be the one telling the story this week. I have someone else that's going to tell the story. Mr. Martin and Bryn put together the scenes for you with their Legos, and Bryn is going to tell you the story about Paul.
This is Paul. Paul was a mean man that hurt Christians. One day, Jesus appeared to him as a bright light. Jesus said, "Paul, you will no longer hurt Christians. Instead, you will teach the whole world to love me." So, that's what Paul did. He traveled all over the Middle East and Europe to tell people about Jesus. Many people believed Paul, but not everybody wanted to hear about Jesus. One time, he had to make a secret escape. He was lowered in a basket over a wall. One time, people threw rocks at him. Another time, people wanted to whip him. A couple times, Paul was kicked out of town. He was thrown in jail a couple times, too. One time, Paul was sailing, and his boat got wrecked up in a storm. One time, he was building a fire, and a snake jumped out and bit him. It didn't hurt him, though. Satan didn't like Paul telling people about Jesus, so he made it hard for Paul. But God always helped Paul to keep preaching. There were many challenges, but Paul kept doing what Jesus told him to. He even wrote 14 books of the Bible. When you keep working hard, even though it's not easy, that's called diligence. Jesus wants us to work hard and not give up, for our parents and our teachers and for Him. Thanks, Paul, for showing us how to be diligent.
Wasn't that a great story about Paul? He was so diligent in his work for God. What are some ways that Jesus was diligent? Jesus and the disciples were diligent when they walked from place to place, carrying out God's plan. Right before Jesus died on the cross, he said, "It is finished." His mission was complete. He did what he was supposed to do all the way until the end. Why is it so important to be diligent? Do you know anyone who is good at being diligent? I know my dad is good at being diligent because when he has a job he's going to do, he's going to work hard to finish it. I bet you can think of someone that's diligent too. This week, our memory verse is, "Whatever you do, do it heartily as unto the Lord and not to men." Colossians 3:23. If you met one or more of your challenges from last week, let us know and we'll make sure that you get a sticker to put on your cape. Here are your challenges for this week. Number 1, memorize this week's verse. Number 2, learn something new. You're going to have to be diligent if it's something that you don't know how to do. You're going to have to keep trying if it's something you haven't done before. Number 3, do a chore without whining and complaining. See if you can do it while being diligent and finishing the job. Good luck! I can't wait to hear about how you were diligent this week.